Hey, what's up? This is Scott with Level Up Tutorials, and today we're going to be talking about GitHub Actions. What are GitHub Actions? You may have heard of these things before. You may even kind of have an idea about what they are, but we're going to be breaking down in plain English what GitHub Actions are, as we do every single week on What is Wednesday. So today we're going to be talking all about GitHub Actions, and GitHub Actions are a means of having continuous integration or continuous deployment, or basically just allowing workflows to run on actions that take place in your GitHub repository. So this video will assume that you have some basic knowledge of Git and GitHub. Basically, we have code, it gets pushed up to a repository on changes, right? And what GitHub Actions allow you to do is allows you to respond to these pushes or pull requests or anything like that. And with that, we can run some things. Now, typically before GitHub Actions, you were paying for an outside service to do this type of thing. There were a lot of continuous integration, continuous deployment services. However, now we can do many of these things directly in GitHub. And while it can be a little no fun to work in sometimes, it, for the most part, is a very nice experience. So what types of things would you do in a GitHub action? Well, for us, we have GitHub Actions that they run our tests on PRs. They run a TypeScript type checker on PRs. They run a deploy if types have passed and tests have passed. So it could potentially run a deploy. We also, we have it running Jest or Node test. We also have it running Cypress tests. So you could have any of these things being done, whether that is running tests, checking your code, sending deploy messages. But you can also have it do things like generating a change log, or perhaps updating a version number. If the code has changed, maybe it's going to give you an automatic version bump. These are all types of things that people do with GitHub Actions. Now you can see here that we have some actions, some of which have passed and some of which have failed, which are indicated by the check and minus. You can see there was recently a pull request into staging, and from this you can see that the build has checked. So the build was successful, so there's a green check. The check, which is our TypeScript checker, was successful, so there was a check. And the deploy was successful. Now this is a PR into staging, so it's not running all of our tests. But you can see when we click on any of these, you can see exactly what it's doing. You even get a log of everything that's happened. So as you run any of these tests, it does one by one, step by step, and it takes care of these things. Now, how do you write a GitHub action? Well, this isn't going to be a GitHub action tutorial. And you can see here, I do want to add Cypress testing for this PR into our UI. However, this basically says that we have a GitHub action that says on pull request to UI, here's some of the things that it's going to check. It's going to say, hey, if you're doing a pull request and the path matches packages UI, since we have a mono repo, this is just for the UI, then what we want to do is we want to run these other workflow files that I have here. So it says here, run the following jobs. Run the build job, where it uses this, or run the check job, which uses this. Now, if we want to fire up one of these other ones, like the build UI that it's referencing here, you can see that it says on workflow call. What it's going to do is it's going to have jobs. It's going to run on the latest version of Ubuntu. It's going to then have the following steps. It's going to check out the repository with all submodules. Then it's going to run pnpm setup, so that way I can use pnpm. I like and prefer pnpm. Then we use pnpm clean to clean any extra package stuff, pnpm install, and then pnpm build with an env variable of production. Now, this is just a very basic GitHub action, but they're all written in YAML, which is the file format that you write a GitHub action. And these things exist simply by having a folder that is .github and then workflows, and then any action that you might have is just an action in the form of a .yaml file. Now, you're going to want to go ahead and head to GitHub's own website for more information on these types of things. This is, again, it's not a tutorial, just an explanation of what it is. Now, in addition, you can also get additional GitHub actions to work with. and I clicked explore. I could have sworn, oh, I guess it's in marketplace. You can see if you head into marketplace on GitHub and select actions, you can see a ton of pre-made actions in here, all of which have instructions on how to use. So for instance, if you wanted to set up a Node.js environment, you can see that checkout, version 3 checkout with actions, set up Node with what Node version. And now you have Node ready to go based on however you need it configured. So this is how you can use various actions. Again, not a full-on tutorial. If you'd like to learn more about GitHub Actions and how to use them, head on over to leveluptutorials.com. In fact, let me bounce over here. We actually have a course on GitHub Actions, code automation with GitHub from Brian Douglas, who has worked at GitHub for a long time and is a amazing teacher. So check it out. If you want to learn more about GitHub Actions, check out leveluptutorials.com. You can have a full-on tutorial on all of the wonderful code automation things you can do with GitHub Actions, whether that is, publishing to NPM or versioning, semantic versioning, those types of things. Check it out. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on Friday for Weekly Svelte.